Hey everyone, welcome to Beauty in 5 Minutes. Today we're going to learn how to use concealer. Ready, set, go. So when it comes to choosing the right concealer, first you need to determine what the purpose is of you using the concealer. So if you are using it for brightening, then I would go for a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your foundation. That's going to help to brighten up the under eye area, the center parts of your face, and it's going to help to add some dimension to your overall base. If you're going to be using a concealer to brighten under eye circles, then your best option is to go for a shade that covers a vein on your wrist. Veins typically have a bluish tone to them, and so do dark circles, and so that's kind of like how you would figure out if it's going to be any good at cancelling out your under eye circles. For spot concealing, I would go for a concealer that is the same shade as your foundation or your skin. And you also want to look for a formula that is long wearing. And then finally, if you're using a concealer just to balance any unevenness in your skin, any redness, then I would just go for one that matches your skin tone. I would pick a formula that is a little bit more on the hydrating side. So then you have the option to kind of wear it all over your face. If you have skin that is more on the oily side, then going for a concealer that has more of a long wear matte finish is ideal. If you have more combination skin, then I would say that you can go with any concealer formula. It just depends on what the purpose is of you using it. If you have more dry skin, then creamy, luminous formulas are so hydrating. They have a really nice creamy finish to them, and they're more likely to sit better on your skin. If you're wanting to use it to cover up dark circles, then I would apply the concealer here rather than up to the lash line, because if you apply your concealer up to the lash line, sometimes it can look a little bit cakey, but if you apply it just through here and follow kind of your bone structure and the shape of your eye socket, then it looks a little bit more natural. If you were just wanting to brighten and you don't necessarily have super dark circles and you just kind of want to illuminate your face, then I apply concealer here, and then I will actually take it up here. And the reason for that is it does help to brighten, conceal, and also highlight this area. And then obviously if you're using it for spot concealing, then you would just apply the concealer on the blemish or the spot, leave it for a little bit, let it set, and then go in with your other complexion products. And then finally, when it comes to just using your concealer all over the face to even out any redness or any unevenness, then I would just pop it in those areas that you were wanting to even out. Pretty straightforward. There are a few methods of applying concealer, and really it just comes down to personal preference. You can use brushes, the applicator that comes with your concealer, your fingers, or a sponge. I usually opt for a sponge or my fingers. Sometimes I'll use a brush, and I usually tend to go for one that is more on the fluffy side. If I am going to be concealing dark circles, I will tend to apply the concealer. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I would apply it on the back of my hand or onto a palette if I was working on a client. And then I would use a brush, fluffy brush if you're going for lighter coverage and you want to diffuse it. Flat brush if you want more full coverage. So if it's dark circles or if it's spots. But I would then take the brush and then blend. So that's with the brush. And then if you were using a sponge, this is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. This is one of my new faves. A sponge is going to give you a more natural look. I actually did a video on how to use sponges and why you would use them. So you can see that that brush is going to give you more full coverage and the sponge is going to look a little bit more natural. If you're using the concealer to highlight and contour, then your placement will be different. Highlighting would be here, like I did with this one. You could also go here, nose, and then use your sponge, and then just start blending. And then you would just go in with your contour just to add that additional definition to the face. Then if you're using fingers, you would just take your concealer, just pat it onto the skin until it blends out. If you're using it to spot conceal, then flat brush, as I've mentioned a few times, take your concealer and then you would just sort of dab it. This color is probably not right, it's too light. And then leave it, and then you could blend out the edges like ever so slightly with a sponge. and then you would go over it with your foundation or your powder. So that is how to use concealer in 5 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them down below. If you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe so that you can see more videos from us. Like the video if you enjoyed it and if you want to see more, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye.